Leia here from magicbyleia.com, and in this video I'll show you how to do another miniature polymer clay painting. This time we'll focus on a sparkly starry night scene. I won't go through the techniques in as much detail because I showed it to you in my last video, so make sure you watch that first. The link is in the description below. For the starry night, we need a darker background, so I have blue as the main color. I'm using Primo Sculpey, but you can use whatever brand of polymer clay you prefer. Blue is the main color. I'm going to have some black to make it darker. Then I'll transition into the sunset colors, so we'll have some yellow, orange, and red. I have a little bit of white that I'm going to run through over here to give it a little light. And here I have a translucent pearl color to add some glitter to give it that sparkly starry night. We'll start with the modified Skinner blend that I showed you in the last video. I'll have the blue, a small band of black above that to give it that really dark night effect. And we'll get a teeny tiny bit of white in there. I think I conditioned way more than I want to use. I just want a little bit of lightness in there. Just like that little. Just to lighten the transition. And then we'll go with yellow, orange, and red. Now notice that I'm completely covering over the white. I just want the light color to get in there, but it's not one of the main colors I'm going for, so I'll let it blend with the blue and with the yellow rather than focusing on white as its own color. I'll run this through the pasta machine. After running it once through the pasta machine, I'm going to add the glitter to it. And all I'm going to do is just lay it on there. Like that. And then as I go through the Skinner blend, the glitter will get into the clay as well. Here's a first run through the pasta machine. Notice how the glitter is starting to stretch and get into the colors. Notice how my colors are starting to transition into each other and the glitter is also spreading out some more. And here we have some more run throughs. Notice the colors are starting to resemble that fading sun. Then he runs through the pasta machine later, and I have a beautiful color mix that I like. It transitions from sparkly black, where the night is, down to blue, down to the setting sun, and then this is about where we'll end it. So I'm going to cut out another random sized shape. I'm looking for an approximate square that has some good coloring. And again, I don't measure this. I don't like to be restricted when I do art. I just like to let it happen and see what the clay tells me to do. So here's my canvas, and I like to work on a small piece of baking paper so that it's easy to move around, and I can bake it on the baking paper so I don't have to worry about it getting stuck until I'm ready to take it out of the oven. The scene for this one is going to be a little more complex. I recommend that you decide what scene you want to do, draw it out, and then slowly bring it to life on your tiny canvas. I'm going to start with a small piece of green, black, and pearl polymer clay. So I'm trying to show grass at night. I still want the green there, but I want it to be very, very light. I'm going to roll it out for the length of the canvas and then flatten it out a little before running it through my pasta machine to get it really, really thin. Alright, so in the past I made the mistake of not checking it before starting to mark it up, and it didn't fit. This one looks like it nearly fits, so I'm gonna elongate it. Alright, so I know it fits. What I'm gonna do now is use a small needle tool to score the top and give it a grassy look. Straighten it out first. So I'm using the needle to very softly drag the clay and cut the grassy lines in it. And then I'm going to position it on the bottom of my canvas. Sometimes it's tricky to cut it when you have the clay overlapping, so I recommend pressing it down so that you can see the outline and then cut it off. You don't have to cut it off completely. You can have some of it bent over the edge of the canvas, but you want a general square or rectangle shape. Now we have grass. I'm going to add a tree, and I'm going to use a very soft piece of black and pearl clay mixed with a lot of liquid Sculpey to make it very easy for this. So the general tree will run here, and I want a big overhanging branch so I can hang a swing, and then we can have some branches going off the side. Make sure the bottom is nice and wide, and we're going to blend that into the grass. And we'll give it some life, and at the same time attach it to the canvas with a needle tool. Remember, it's a tree, so it shouldn't be straight. It should bulge out in some areas, make some bark lines. And we can do more texturing later. I just want the general shape for now. And again, I showed you how to do this technique in more detail in the previous video, so if you're not sure what I'm doing right now or you want more help, go back to that video. All I'm doing is just adding branches and just giving some effect, because I don't want the entire image to be just on one side, so I'm adding some interest, some 3 dimensions to the right side of this canvas. I'm not going to be adding any leaves to the tree, so I want to make sure that it looks good as is. It doesn't look empty. If the pieces are too small, you can use a needle or something to hold them. I just play around with whichever tool I feel will serve me at the time, or whatever happens to be closest to my hand. Sometimes I'm not that picky. Alright, I think that's good enough for the tree, so let's go ahead and add a swing. This is going to be simple. The key is just to make sure it looks different from the tree. I want it to look like a wooden swing, so I'm going to cut it and then distress it a little because I don't want it to look the same way as we did the tree. Now that I have the general shape that I want to make sure it's not stuck to the baking paper so that I can remove it easier later. And we'll just distress it a little here. I want it to look like a weathered wooden bench, that kind of swing. Maybe my clay is a little too sticky. There we go. And then all we need are the strings to hang it. Good way to get the stuck clay off is to just use more clay and rub it. Okay, unlike the branches, I want to try to make this piece of clay somewhat uniform in diameter because I want it to look like a string holding up, like rope holding up the swing. And there we have it, a swing on a tree with the setting sun. Here's another one I did using a similar technique. This is a girl and a boy walking in the park or in the trees, and I'm curious to see what you come up with. So if you create a tiny painting using this tutorial, go ahead and tag me at Magic by Leia on Facebook or Instagram, and I'd love to see your work. For a detailed list of supplies used in this project, along with answers to your specific questions, visit my website, magicbyleia.com, or click the link in the description. I will be uploading new videos regularly, so be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. But for even more bonus tutorials, tips, and so much more, join my email newsletter by clicking the link in the description or visiting my website, magicbyleia.com.